The chapter starts with Soo-hyun in disbelief about how the second quest is to kiss his bully, Chaerin Bayek. While pondering the situation, Chaerin questions him about his intentions, suggesting that he may have a death wish and threatens to physically harm him. Soo-hyun instinctively defends himself, believing that kissing her is an impossible feat. But suddenly, Chaerin stops and shares the rumor she heard regarding Guy's interest in being hit by her. Following that, she decides to walk away, assuring that she won't hit him, and refers to him as a creep. Soo-hyun monologues about how this is an impossible quest. He shouts out, "Abandon quest," as he decides to give up on the quest and get a new one. Without any warning, a window pops up, surprising Soo-hyun and causing him to question, "What is this?" Subsequently, another system window informs Soo-hyun that abandoning a quest will result in forfeiting all rewards and never seeing quest windows again. The quest window then asks Soo-hyun if he would still like to abandon the quest. Soo-hyun angrily yells out, expressing his dissatisfaction with the unfairness of the situation, which also annoys and startles his other classmates, making them say, "Stop blocking the hallway," and "What the hell is wrong with you?" Another pair of girls look confused as they are trying to figure out what he's doing while also calling him a creep and disgusting. Soo-hyun then starts to realize that if he gives up on this quest, he will shrink back down to 5'5" and also never get another quest ever again. After thinking about it for a couple of seconds, he decides to strengthen his resolve and at least try to complete the quest. That's right, Soo-hyun. Show them who's boss.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on.
We then fast forward to our boy mumbling in the classroom about how kissing her is going to be impossible. I gained so much faith in him and lost it in an instant. He begins to monologue how even trying would be near impossible, and fears that even trying to ask her out might get him slapped to death. He even goes as far as thinking about trying to kiss her by force, saying, "There's no way I could do that." Unexpectedly, someone interrupts him while he is mumbling the words "a kiss" to himself and asks him if he wants a kiss. Shocked, Soo-hyun excitedly jumps up saying, "Really?" as he also spins his head to see who said that. Is this finally it? Has the goddess of luck answered our prayers? Soo-hyun looks over, and it's his best friend Kuja, and he says, "If you don't mind kissing me." Startled, Soo-hyun jumps back as he notices his friend suddenly beside him, which frightens him. Out of the blue, Soo-hyun exclaims, "Whoa!" and then asks Kuja what happened to his face as he answers by saying he got beat up by the bullies. Soo-hyun comments that it's comical to witness him being defeated since he gives off the impression of being a formidable fighter. Scratch a good fighter, he looks like he's 30 years old. Kuja also adds that he also thought he would be a good fighter. Kuja then asks him why he was muttering about a kiss and furthermore right next to him. He is hesitant at first, but he slowly asks him, what would you do if someone gave him a mission that he had to complete, and it was to kiss a girl, and what he would do in that situation. Kuja thinks about it for a little bit and says, if you ask the girl really nicely, she might let you. I hate to break this to you. 99% of girls would not let that slide, and you would probably end up behind bars. Kuja begins to add on that there was that free hugs campaign, but he can do it with only kisses. But before he's done, Soo-hyun cuts him off and says, that would never work. Not for guys like us. Kuja then comes up with the idea of offering the girl money in exchange. Soo-hyun jumps up at this idea and calls Kuja a genius and says, a kiss is basically just two people's lips touching, right? Wrong, oh so very wrong. He also says that everyone likes money and all he has to do is pay the girl. My guy is Kazuya reincarnated. Soo-hyun then eagerly asks Kuja how much money he has and asks if he could lend him some. Kuja lets out a short laugh saying, ha, I've got you covered, and pulls his wallet out from his back pocket and hands it to Soo-hyun. Soo-hyun then reaches for the money, but at the last second he quickly pulls back and says how he can't believe that they thought that was a good idea. Kuja then apologizes and says that it was a stupid thing to suggest. Soo-hyun also adds that they were both in the wrong for entertaining the notion. As Kuja is putting his wallet back into his back pocket, he brings up to Suyeon that wouldn't he need to be alone with a girl to kiss her in the first place? Suyeon ponders on this thought, saying that he's right, and that there's no way for him to be alone with Charon. But he abruptly stops himself as he realizes that it's possible during gym class, because Charon always says that she's sick to avoid going to gym class. Later, we are transported into the class where Charon is sleeping as she soon starts to wake up. She rubs her head as she notices that Suyeon is still in the classroom. She then asks him why he isn't in gym class. He nervously responds and says that he isn't feeling well, which Charon calls him out for lying and says, "You were watching me sleep, weren't you?" Suyeon shouts out that he wasn't and starts to get flustered as Charon keeps teasing him as she says that she's going to tell everyone and calls him a little creep. Even more flustered now, he yells even louder that he wasn't watching her sleep, and she quickly interrupts him saying she's only kidding and calls him a lame ass. She then asks Suyeon if he's busy and tells him to get her a carton of strawberry milk, and before she can finish her sentence, he cuts her off and says that he already got one for her. Confused, Charon says, "What?" And Suyeon says again that he already bought her strawberry milk. Charon now looks down at her desk and finally sees the milk carton. Our boy begins to ponder whether this would be the first step to dating Charon, since kissing only happens between two people in a relationship. She then compliments him, saying, "What a good little minion you are." Suyeon then thinks about the likelihood of her secretly having feelings for him, which he says is obviously zero. I don't know about zero, Suyeon, maybe just a little bit. He decides that he can't waste any more time thinking this over, and if he doesn't try something now, he won't be able to complete the quest. He then runs over to Karen and snatches the milk carton from her hands, startling her in the process as she yells out, "WTF!" and shouts at him, "What the hell are you doing?" Suhyun starts to drink some of the milk from the carton, slams it down on the desk, and loudly asks her if she has ever kissed anyone. Bro, just look at her face, LOL. She responds by asking the question again and says, "Hey, Suyeon, if you don't cut the crap, the only thing you'll be kissing is the floor of a jail cell." He nervously tries to play it off, saying it was only a joke and he was just curious. Out of the blue, someone calls out to Suyeon with a phone in their hand, and we see that it's the bullies from yesterday. And one of the bullies asks Suyeon if he wants them to kiss him. Suyeon now has a blank expression on his face as the bullies all burst out laughing. One of the bullies puts his arm around Suyeon, asking him if he likes Charon, and then calls out to everyone and says that Suyeon has a crush on Charon. Charon now has a puzzled look on her face as she asks Suyeon if he gets off on being embarrassed. Suyeon replies and says, "No, that's not it," and shouts at the bully, asking him why did he record that and to delete the video. The bully then jokingly says, "But it's so funny." Suyeon then shouts even louder, telling the bully to delete it, which makes the bully punch him in the face and knocks him to the floor and then calls him a little bitch. The bully then says that it was only a joke, and that what Suyeon said to Charon was also a joke, right? He then asks Suyeon if he isn't allowed to also make jokes, and asks him if he doesn't want to joke around with them. He then proceeds to slap Suyeon across the face and says they only want to be friends with him. He keeps slapping him, repeating slowly with every slap that he wants to be friends with him, and starts winding back his hand for another slap, telling Suyeon to answer him. Suddenly, Charon comes from behind him and grabs his hand to stop him, telling him to cut it out, and says that she's sure Suyeon got the message. The bully looks up confused, and she also tells him to delete that video. The bully eagerly gets up and says, "Of course, Charon's word is law," and then says he will now step out for a smoke. The bullies then leave, and as they are walking, the main bully says that he never recorded anything in the first place, and he would never do something like that to Charon. Charon then turns her focus to Suyeon, lying on the floor with his broken glasses, and tells him to go home early. And if he stays at school, the bullies will just beat him all day. We fast forward to the afternoon where we see Suyeon curled up on his bed crying about failing the quest. He is now feeling sorry for himself, even saying that he just got beat up and only ended up coming home early. And why did he even bother trying? And if he had just given up, at least he wouldn't have gotten beaten up. He also begins to worry about what's going to happen at school from now on, and how he is going to explain his broken glasses to his mom, and how since he failed the quest, he will now shrink back to 5'5". He then lays down in his bed and thinks about how everything is so blurry without his glasses. But out of nowhere, a quest window pops up reading, "Quest complete. I guess the goddess of luck finally heard our prayers." We are then transported back into the school's classroom where Sharon is sitting down as she reaches for her strawberry milk, saying that she forgot about it. She begins to ask herself why Sooyeon was asking about a kiss in the first place and says, "No, she's never done it, so what?" She then starts to drink the milk, but quickly realizes that this is the same straw that Sooyeon used. We are then transported back to Sooyeon's room again, where another quest window says that he received the rewards for the quest. Sooyeon jumps up in disbelief as he tries to figure out what's happening. The quest window flashes again, and it now says that he has received a gold card and a silver card. He stutters on his words, but manages to say the phrase claim card, and the system then gives him the 2 cards. Sooyeon thinks back to yesterday about how the first gold card made him taller and wonders what these cards will do. Sooyeon reveals the cards and mutters, "This is amazing." Wait, that's it? There has to be more, right? Guess you guys will have to tune in next week for Chapter 3. Also make sure to like and subscribe for future content. And also comment down below about which series you want me to cover next. And be sure to give feedback on what you guys would want in these videos. Be sure to also check out my Ko-fi in the description below if you want to support me and the channel. That's all guys, see you all next week.